Okay, let's set the scene. It's Friday night. It is exactly 11:59 p.m. and you have a practical research due at midnight. And the screen is so bright that it's blinding your eyes, and your word count, it's absolutely zero. And so, you see that generate button, that AI assistant. With just one click away, you are finished with your task. So the big question here for today is, do you hit that button and go to sleep, or you start typing and hope for the best? But before we move on to our discussion, let's meet our speakers for today's podcast episode. First, let's meet Miss Khyshane Cafe, Miss Sophea Dilag, Mr. Alex Ramos, and last but not the least, Miss Asiyah Macatuman. So, how are you guys today?
Amazing.
Good.
Very good.
Nice to
Great.
hear. So, how does it feel being invited to my podcast episode for today's day, April 27, 2026, at Cinema One in Lemket Kai Mall?
Very good. We are honored.
Happy?
Yeah, we're very
Excited.
honored.
Yes.
Yeah, excited.
Thank you. So, regarding to what I've said earlier about the 11:59 p.m. scenario, as we can relate to it, what can you guys say about it?
Hmm. From what I think I will not I will not generate because it's not in my ethical morals to use AI on my academic performance. Of course, but if I were to use AI now, then eventually I'm gonna fall into a habit where I will use AI anywhere and anytime. For example, 10 plus 10. Hey, ChatGPT, what is 10 plus 10? Something like that.
So, from what you've said, why are some people addicted to AI?
From what I think it's easy and fast to use, you know? With one click of a button, the answer will be generated. And of course, there are those students who have a fear of failing grades. So that's why they only use AI so that even if they have small grades, they will use AI to help them have a high grade. And lastly, from what I said earlier, you will be leading into a bad habit where you use AI anytime, anywhere. Yes, that's all.
Thank you. But before we judge the generate button pushing, let's take a look at what Miss Kishin can say about what is AI actually.
So, okay, when we talk about AI or artificial intelligence, we often think it will always give correct answers. But it's not actually true because AI has something like this, like hallucinations and bias, where these two problems it can be wrong. So according to IBM.com, AI hallucinations is a phenomenon in large language model AI generatives such as AI chatbots or computer vision tool where it perceives patterns or objects that are not non-existent or imperceptible to human observers, creating outputs that are nonsensical or altogether accurate. So for example, if user request to of a generative AI tool, they will type what they need to be answered and also adjusts the prompt properly and give and get the correct answer. But sometimes AI algorithms can be follow identifiable patterns sometimes that are not based in training data. So in other words, it hallucinates the response. And AI bias happens because AI learns from the large data sets by for that it created by humans. So if the training contains includes historical inequalities, stereotypes, or not diverse, AI can learn those patterns as normal. It sees from the data sets, so which can lead to unfair or skewed outputs.
So, based from your answer, we can really see that AI is not actually thinking,
Yeah.
but rather they are basing their answer based from patterns. So, the problem here is that what if those patterns are wrong? So, basically, the answer is getting the answer from the wrong, from the wrong group, since it develops it from those, what's it called, like patterns. So, yeah, we can really see how AI isn't actually true at all times.
Yes. I think we need to be very clear about one thing from the start. AI is not meant to replace human thinking. Tools like large language models are designed to function as assistive systems, not autonomous decision makers. In other words, they are meant to support human thinking, not to replace it. AI works best when humans stay in control of judgment and decision making. So, the real question is not whether AI should be used, it's whether we are still the ones steering in the process.
Exactly. And as we are going to see later in this episode, if you sleep through the flight in senior high school, you may not know how to land the plane when you reach college or landing a job. But before that, I have some set of questions first that I would like you guys to answer, that I would like to hear your opinion about. So here, have you ever caught an AI hallucinating a fact or anything
All the time.
all the time?
Yeah. Especially when you research some sources for your studies in research, those are not very accurate.
So based from my experience, when I asked AI for some sources, since references are very important in research, I asked the AI for references. But when I checked it, the link doesn't match to what the AI actually said at all. So which is why we really need to verify what AI gives us because it can hallucinate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, it
Yes.
creates bias.
If we stop checking facts, we're basically turning off our filter. We start believing information just because it sounds confident or like well written.
So you use AI for just an outline, or you use AI to generate the whole essay.
I think it's for outline because it's a matter to me to make everything about that outline, to make let's say let's say the a skeleton created ChatGPT created the skeleton and I'm the one who will form the muscle and organ. So that's what I'm trying to say, The skeleton meaning the outline and the muscle and organ is what I want to try to build.
So when hitting the generate button, have you guys ever felt guilty?
Yes,
Yes.
honestly, yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh,
Why are you not
why
guilty?
not?
Since I mainly use AI only to like find facts faster, I don't really use it like a lot for my essay, so that's why I don't really feel guilty when I use it.
If AI write most of it, so it's not your own work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're losing your ownership over it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
it's not fully your study.
It's like you're giving your brain to AI.
Yes.
Yes.
But you don't really have a brain, right? So, why do you guys think that this addiction starts? Is it the speed of the AI or or a fear of looking at a blank page?
From what I think it's the speed, Some some lazy people like it when it's, very fast, like just like from the story, from that one story where the a person lying in the ground and waiting for the tree to be fall. It's like that, like you have to make a prompt so that the answer will be given to you, aka the lazy peoples.
Exactly. For a student who is tired and stressed and overwhelmed by deadlines, they use AI as like something to turn to when they can't get something done on time. For example, like essays. It makes it really fast just to pass it.
Yes.
Go.
Given how prevalent AI usage from with students are, we can't really expect that no students will be using it, right?
Yes.
So, in the next segment, we will talk about how AI is like a virus spreading through classrooms. So, when you walk into a classroom and the teacher is giving an activity, most students do not immediately reach for the pen and paper, but rather they immediately search for their phone to ask AI. Could you see how much of a problem that is?
Yes.
Who've been in a classroom here and have seen that many students actively use AI during classrooms.
Me, very me.
In our
Very good.
classroom.
Yeah,
Yes.
our classrooms,
So, why do you think that students use AI? Is it because of academic pressure or just pure laziness?
Hmm. From what I think it's from academic pressure because a lot of teachers give assignments like that. So it's kind of understandable if they use AI to help them for their assignment.
Hmm.
But laziness is another story. It's from trait of a person. So if the person is lazy, then we can't help him.
And
You know?
also it creates habits. That's why some students will go to it because the instincts of that is like they use AI right away. Like
Like basically, like they rely on it so much, right?
yeah, they over rely.
But these habits that you speak of, they sometimes turn into over reliance, right? Like
Yeah.
it's become a bad habit now. Can you share us what over reliance is? For
So basically, over reliance is happens when a person is depending too much on AI. So the systems begin accepting their outputs where you need also to check if it's correct or not. So it can lead this to mistakes or errors because not everything AI gives us is correct. So it gives incorrect information. So that's why we need also to question its outputs and verify if it's correct. Yeah.
So basically, like they just make AI do everything for them. Like they
Yeah.
lose their ability to think and question what the AI gives them, right? They just automatically accepts them.
Yeah.
Just like example, when you were a baby, you rely on your mom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you grow up and you still rely on your mom, then you don't have a brain. You know, you need to grow up and figure it in your own. So just like using AI, you know, your mom is like AI, and and you growing up means that you feel guilty for your mom, aka the AI that so that doing your work. So if you were to grow up, then you can do things on your own, not rely on AI.
Yes, that's very realistic answer. So, when this over reliance on AI gets too much of a problem, the students sometimes just blatantly use it to cheat during activities like quizzes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you know someone someone like that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Like when I was in grade 10, there were this group of students, right? And I think it was an exam where when the teacher left, they immediately took out their phone and took a picture to send it to an AI. And I was shocked because of how blatant they were doing it. Like like how dishonest they were with their answers. You know, it can get their over reliance became too much of a problem that they're not scared to just they don't put in the work anymore. You know, they lose their ability to actually put in effort
Yeah.
For me, not every use of AI is cheating, but it becomes a problem when a student completely removes their own thinking from the output that they're making. So from an educational perspective, integrity is just not about rules, but it's about learning ownership. If you cannot explain it or defend what you submitted, then there is already a gap between you and the work. But also, I want to be honest. This is not about, this is not just an student issue. Research and education technology, including discussion from UNESCO 2023 on AI in learning, points out that students often adopt new tools faster than schools can create clear guidelines for them. So in many cases, students are not intentionally being dishonest. They are just operating in system that hasn't fully adapted yet. That's why real issues is not just about cheating. It is also, are we teaching the student how to use AI responsibly in the first place? And I think that question matters more than labeling everything as a right or wrong immediately.
Hmm. Yeah, since because we can't really stop how much AI is spreading, right? So
Yes.
we need like a system to actually guide students on how to use it. Since we can't really stop the wave of AI from, taking over students, right? This is especially how much technology spreads over us. Now, I have a set of questions here, and I would like to hear your guys' opinion about it. If everyone is using AI, and is it still cheating or is the system just outdated?
I think it depends on how you use it, because if you use it wisely, then it would be great. But if you over rely using AI, that's could be a different way of using it. Yeah.
So for me, I think that it's not really cheating. Yes, as Miss Kishin said, as long as we use it correctly, like we don't over rely on it, I think that AI is not actually cheating, but rather it can be your co-pilot, just as what Miss Sophia said earlier. And I believe that the system hasn't really stepped up, especially with the advancement of AI. It's not really, on par with how fast AI is spreading. They don't have that much guidelines to actually guide students and teachers to effectively integrate it into their system.
Yeah, like what UNESCO AI in education in 2023 said, that they actually warned that overuse of AI without guidance can also weaken the independent learning skills.
I think it depends on user, just like you all said, If a user use it for cheating, then it's cheating. But if a user use it for educational purposes, like uh summarize this meaning, I think make an outline of this, like that.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, as long as we like use AI correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't abuse something that has the answers to almost anything. So another question is, when do you guys usually use AI and why?
Mm.
Like I said before, I only use it for like fun facts for like my PPTs and stuff like that, or like when I really need to get an outline done and I'm too lazy. But usually, most of the time I do my own outline too.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Well, for me, I basically use AI when I'm stuck on something, especially when I'm lack of ideas. So I need to seek for help for ChatGPT to some more ideas, and also when the lessons feels more confusing. So I need help to explain it more in simpler words. Yeah.
From what they said, I only use AI for when I'm confused or when I hit a wall. Like, if I'm confused by this lesson, I use AI to explain it clearly, just like them. Also, outline.
Yeah. For me also, like same as Khyshane, I just use it whenever I need some ideas like that.
So it really goes to show that AI is not actually bad. It just depends on the user using it. Like we need to be honest when using AI, and especially like the AI literacy and being ethical, moral, and responsible in using AI. But you know what? Let's delve even deeper into the brains of AI users.
So cognitive offload is when we rely on tools or technology to do our thinking for us. For example, is the Waze or Google Maps. Before, people would memorize the directions or memorize the directions so that they could possibly go to there, or use a book of maps. But today, in just one app, the directions are there, so we could follow. So because of that, we don't really remember routes anymore. We depend on the system, and just like an AI, we when we rely on it too much, we write, think, or solve problems for us. We start using our thinking less. So that's why.
Can really see that it's very dangerous if we offload our thinking to AI, right?
When people rely too much on external tools for memory and thinking, they are less likely to retain or deeply process the information themselves. So like what you said, it's similar to what we see today as GPS. Like, yeah, you said na, yeah, we stop remembering direction because we rely on navigation apps. So when we apply that to AI, the concern is simple. If AI always thinks for us, our ability to think independently weakens over time. This is what we call critical thinking atrophy, a gradual weakening of reasoning skills due to lack of practice.
So there was this study in MIT, right, where basically they had three groups create essays over a span of like many months. Basically, the first group was able to use OpenAI for their essays. The second group used Google searches, while the third group used none at all. The results showed at the end that the OpenAI users had the lowest brain engagement among the three groups. And at the end of that study, they just copied and pasted essays from basically the AI, meaning that they got lazier. So the author of the study said that LLMs are detrimental to our brains because it restrains our brain from actually being used. We are talking about long-term brain development here. It shows how dangerous if we keep our brain stagnant. So have you guys heard of cognitive depth? No. You know, I also just recently heard of this word. So basically, this is the long-term cost if you keep on offloading your thinking skills to AI. So think of it like financial debt. Like you can't see it, right? It's invisible and it grows slowly. So basically, in cognitive debt, you just because of the usage of AI, you slowly realize that you cannot do the things you were once able to do anymore because you lost the ability to do so because you gave it to AI.
Yeah, for example, instead of washing your own butt, you said, ChatGPT, wash my butt.
I
Okay.
okay.
So basically, the term cognitive debt borrows its concept from technical debt, where when you take shortcuts in software development and it basically creates problems later. So from here, we can learn that just because it's the easy way doesn't really mean that we will automatically have the best results. This is why we get called a soft generation, because we would rather enjoy instant gratification rather than to suffer for greatness. Remember, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor.
Wow.
But moving on from that, right? You guys know what atrophy is, right? No. So it's basically when your muscle gets smaller and weaker because it doesn't get used as much anymore. So think of a person using crutches. Like they don't use their legs, right? Because they have these substitute stands so that they can walk properly. And over a long time, they lose their strength in their legs because they use the crutches. Or another example of a bedridden person. You know what a bedridden person is, right? Like a person who always stays in the bed because of some sickness or something. Because of their inactivity, their muscles basically also get weaker and smaller. So meaning that over a long time, they can't really stand up like they used to anymore. Like they can't do the activities that they were once able to do. And because of that, they get to rely on the bed even more. Like you get media, like because they always stay in the bed, they cannot, do the things anymore. So basically they're trapped in that. So this can also be attributed to our critical thinking skills too. If if we start relying too much on AI now, our critical thinking skills will get weaker, and therefore we will start to rely on it much more. If a student loses his habit of thinking, what do you think will happen if we ask AI for something and the AI hallucinates and gives him something that is false? So it basically makes that student a vulnerable information consumer. This is basically what information literacy warns us about, like what Sir Peter is actively teaching us. So always challenge what we see. For example, especially if it's AI. But because the student relies too much on AI anymore, they basically lose their critical thinking skills to actually analyze what the AI gives them. So because of that cycle, they basically lose, their literacy, the AI literacy. So yeah, which is why as much as possible, we must not let our brain degrade. So I have some questions here that I hope that you guys can give an answer for. So, if we stop checking facts, how easily can we be fooled by fake news?
I think by a lot, because if you stop checking facts, then you don't know what is real or fake anymore. Let's just say news, right? Right? Let's say the news said there is fire in that specific building, but when I fact check it, when I go to that specific building, I go to the Facebook, TikTok, or any piece of information that I can get. If I can get, then I'll know if it's true or not. That's what you call the fact check. So that's why it's very important to fact check. Just like scams or something like that.
And also, fake information or how do you call that? Fake information today are really convincing.
So, like Khyshane said, the fake information that is spreading around on the internet now is extremely convincing. Like sometimes there are deep fakes that are so realistic you don't even realize that they're not even actually that person. And if we can't like fact check, we are much more susceptible to believing that fake information.
Yes, I agree. That's why we have to, fact check for us to be able, not to
Yeah.
be.
And
Cool.
Yes.
Yes.
verify information.
Now, I have another question here. So we have like practical research subjects, right?
Yes.
So if AI writes your practical research, whose study is it really?
Well, this is especially important in practical research. Like studies from Stanford Human-Centered AI Institute shows that while large language models can produce fluent and convincing text, they can also generate inaccurate or fabricated information. And this was often called the hallucinations. That means that AI can sound confident even if it is wrong. So students submit AI generated research without understanding it. They risk defending ideas they don't actually understand. So this create what educators call the illusion of competence, thinking you understand something just because it looks correct on the paper.
So for me, if AI writes practical research, I believe that we really lose the human touch in that essay or the research, right? Like there's basically no effort put into that because AI AI created that that research. Just I've also seen that there will also be a podcast episode. I think it was from Empathy Section, where they will talk about how students are having trouble writing research now because they rely on AI too much. And I think I really look forward to seeing that podcast episode. Now, let's take a look at what happens after senior high school. A bigger problem, college.
Okay, so that topic about our practical research using AI in that. Using AI, the thing about using AI in academics is that many universities don't allow AI like at all, especially in college entrance tests. They don't even allow like sometimes, what are they called? Like, they have to like look at the paper that you take into the college entrance test. So who would even allow AI tools in there? So students who relied on AI too much in like senior high school may experience like an academic whiplash, because colleges expect a higher level of independence, critical thinking, and original work. If someone used AI for most tasks in like their junior high school and senior high school, they might not be prepared for those expectations. So there was this study, I think it was NDPI, Education Sciences. So it reports that students who rely heavily on AI become less confident in their own thinking, which creates this shock when they suddenly face environments without AI safety nets, basically. These students who let AI think for them show drops in like critical thinking ability because they stop actively engaging with the material. Plus, once college begins, the workload gets even heavier. If they already struggled during senior high, they may try to rely on AI even more. And the more they rely on AI, the more their academic skills like critical thinking weaken. And the more their academic skills weaken, the more they try to rely on AI. So it leads to this like infinite loop, basically.
Yes. So, if so kung ako na-shock po ko sa senior high. Okay na ba? Kaya mas makuan man ma-feel ba kita sa Bisaya ba?
Feel it.
Kung ako manggali nga na-shock may ko sa senior high, unsa ba ka sa college? Di ba? So we can't really expect that college will become much more easy, especially if we over-rely on AI. Especially that senior high school is already very hard. What more in college, right? As they say that senior high school in USTP, they basically prepare us, they make it look like our classes are college. So we can get to see how hard it really is moving on. So yeah, especially if you use AI, and then what if that professor prohibits usage of AI? Basically, you will lack the skills and ability that you could have gotten from senior high school had you not used AI. So the more that it gets harder, as what Asiyah said, you basically rely on it more. Like the temptation to use it because you don't understand any of the subject that you could have learned in senior high school.
So that's why it is important also to practice our thinking, our own thinking, rather than just relying to AI.
And
Well, the people who use AI fear the failing grades because they don't know what to do. So if they know what to do, then they're confident in their grades. But they use AI so much that they don't know what to do, so they rely on AI. And the reason why they fear failed grade because they only rely on AI, you know? And it's because I think it's partly because academic pressure. Let's see, the consequences that uh the consequences between sa failing grade because your parents can scold you, right? So that's why the reason why people fear the failing grade by not using AI because they only use AI because they don't have the skills, the necessary skills to answer that specific topic on the school. So yeah.
as what Alex said, basically, they have a fear that they will fail if they don't use the AI. This just means that they lack the skill and that they really need to work on their abilities so that they won't have to rely more on AI. Now I have a scenario for you guys to imagine, and I would like you guys to hear your answers. So imagine this. You're in a college exam hall with just a pen and a paper. No AI tools used. What do you feel?
I feel good because I'm very confident in my skills. I'm a very honest and humble person.
Okay.
I don't
Wow.
feel
Imagine this. You use AI all the time, but then you suddenly go to the college exam hall. What do you feel now?
okay. So if I were to use AI batch and I was given pen and paper, I think I would just quit because I use AI because if I were to use AI that much, then my skills would be lacking. My confidence will fade. I don't have the confidence to answer it because I only rely on AI.
Yeah, that's very real. Because the shock of, that you're not actually able to use AI, you become blank-minded, right? You cannot think of anything because all that you've ever done was to ask AI for answers. How about you guys?
Well, for me, it may sound very hard at first, but it only made me realize how practicing or like studying is really important. Yeah.
So, I have a question. Does relying on AI at grade 11 make us weaker for the university level or like the college?
Like I said earlier, heavily like relying heavily on AI weakens our academic skills. So I would say that it does make us weaker if we rely on it too much when it's finally time for university, because the more you use it, the more it feels like it's like the AI is replacing your
Yes.
thinking.
But it also depends on how you use it and how you use AI.
If you constantly use AI during your senior high school and then you suddenly get into college, it feels like you're being left behind, right? Like the lessons are too advanced. The activities are much more than what your ability can handle. So you basically turn to AI again, your comfort zone, because you did not want to actually do those things when you were still in senior high school. So as what Asiyah said earlier, it basically creates an infinite loop. So yeah, I believe that over relying on AI can actually weaken us once we get to college. So basically, it's like a culture shock, but rather you're not moving into another country, but rather moving up to college. Now, the problem here, what if that student still uses AI even when in college? So what would happen when he is now in the job force or in the job market?
About that, there are actually people who heavily rely on AI that actually graduates. But this causes a problem where their degree don't guarantee their ability. A student might graduate with good grades, maybe even with honors, but still lack the actual skills their degree is supposed to represent. This creates problems like little first-hand mastery of core skills like thinking for themselves, reasoning, analyzing, or independent problem solving. AI can boost output, but it can't invent deep human skills on its own. In real work settings, tasks often require judgment, creativity, and understanding that goes beyond what artificial intelligence produces. Some research on AI's impact on worker skills shows that technology may help complete tasks, but it doesn't automatically improve foundational human thinking or job relevant skills sets. Uh, and that organizations must intentionally upskill and reskill employees to succeed with AI technologies. So a student who graduated with AI might might be with honors on paper, but they actually lack the muscle memory and skill fluency that is expected in the real job in the real world.
Yeah, so basically, like their paper holds no weight. It's basically it doesn't really actually distinguish their skill. It's just a paper. like empty words. That paper holds no skill to the person that actually uses that AI. So imagine this, like you have your doctor graduated by only using AI. Now what if he operates on you and then he suddenly forgets something? He can just search on AI mid operation, right? Or like when a lawyer is at a case, he can just go on to AI while defending his client, right? So what if your boss asks you for something or asks you to do something? Then your performance won't really match up to your degree, right? So you're basically just lying to yourself and to your boss, which may risk you losing your job.
Just like what I read in the World Economic Forum's Future of Job reports in 2023, it highlights that the most in demand skills today are not just task based skills, but cognitive and human centered skills like critical thinking, creativity, and adaptability. That means jobs are shifting away from routine tasks, which many of AI can already perform now. So if students rely heavily on AI, the risk is not just on academic, but it's professional. Because in real workplaces, you won't always have to have AI to guide your thinking step by step. You will need to solve problems independently.
So yeah, as what you said, we need to AI proof the career that we are going to choose. So basically choosing jobs that actually require our creativity, our emotions, and anything that AI cannot replace. So what jobs do you guys think that AI can't replace?
Medicine, like any
Yeah,
doctor.
medicine.
Yeah, because we really need to care for our patients, right? That
Yes.
needs not only the care but also our emotions, how we comfort that patient, right? Then that AI can't really comfort, you can't really do. So I have a question for you guys. If AI can do your future job, why would a company hire you?
Mm, From what I think, AI can make mistake, just like from the discussion earlier, can create biases and has hallucination. But on the other hand, human does not rely on any other data center. If what is been told, it's gonna do what is been told.
So, a lot of companies also don't just look for output. They look for people who can adapt, solve problems, and work with others. That's where humans still have the advantage.
Yeah, if AI can do our future jobs task, then companies will not pay for the task, but they will pay for the judgment. Because AI can generate reports, but it cannot understand the human context the way people do. Skills like empathy, communication, humor, and ethical decision making are still deeply human.
So what do you think can AI never replace, like our skills? What skills do you guys think?
So I think the skills that AI can never replace is the empathy, local context, and the humor. So when we say empathy matters because AI can truly feel or understand people's emotion. And also in local context, it is important in real life situations because it depends on our culture, our environment, or a personal experience that things may not fully grasp to AI. And also to the humor, especially to the natural humor or spontaneous humor, comes from human experience and timing, though AI can imitate what it says but not genuinely create it.
To add more onto that, I think another skill that AI can't really replace is creativity because, like I think it was discussed before, the way that AI works is by pattern recognition, right? So it can't really generate ideas the same way a human brain can, like the spontaneous stuff that our brains can make.
So basically, right, it doesn't have the ability to create as what the human mind can do, right? It just
Yes.
basically replicates what it can see from those patterns to form like the best answer. Yes. But now, since AI has become too prevalent, like too many students are seen abusing it. Like just in classrooms, we can see how many phones are open in that time, right? Sometimes they even use it during quizzes and exams.
Exams.
To prevent students from over relying on I believe that there must be at least like a wall or a prevention strategy that can be used to reduce the implications and consequences of over reliance of AI, right?
So, according to the college and research libraries, AI literacy is the ability to understand, use, and think critically into AI technologies and the impact on society, environment, ethics, or in our everyday life. So, it means not just knowing how to use AI, but also being aware of its limits, risks, and how it affects the real world.
So how do we solve this? So we don't just remove AI, but we learn to how to use it properly. Students must understand both how to use AI and its limitations. So we call this an AI sandwich method. So for the bottom layer, kay dira ang human thinking, your ideas and understanding, and for the middle layer is you can use the AI for like the structure, brainstorming, or support. And for the top is human again for verification, rewriting, and reflection. So human, AI, human. That is responsible use. And here's a practical rule inspired by academic integrity and frameworks used in universities like Harvard's and MIT. For every AI output, students should first verify facts using reliable sources. Second, rewrite in their own understanding or own voice. Third, add personal reflection or insights. Yeah. Because learning only happens when thinking is still involved.
Yes, I believe that that's what Miss Sophia said. You really need to be what they call human in the loop, where basically you just don't let AI create something, but you also get to be in that creation process. Yeah, where basically you analyze what the AI says, and then you build up more, or you make changes based on what the AI have given us. So I have a question for you guys. Um, Give me one example of a personal opinion that you would like to add to an AI draft to make it human.
Hmm.
For me, I would just ask for their, diba, like, outline like that or idea from AI, and then I will just read their ideas, and then I will just add up my own personal idea.
Hmm.
So also me, I'd include a reflection like what I learned from the topic and why it matters to me. Also, I would rewrite some parts in my own words so it sounds like more in writing style, not AI.
Hmm. My idea is that I make a prompt. Then after that, it looks robotic, right? So what I did is I put another prompt. It says that make it
Make it
more
more
human.
human.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I also agree with Miss Khyshane where I rewrite the ideas that was given to me from AI like that.
So for me, I personally don't use AI that much.
Ay,
Wow, both.
Wow, really?
But if I'll ever use AI. My only personal rule is that it do not replace my thinking. I really value my brain that much that I would not let it degrade by some machine. So yes, I would really like that AI be only used as a guide for me, like a co-pilot.
It's also be a reminder that AI is there just to assist, suggest, and guide, but you are still the one who is in control, or the human is in control. That's why you need to, you must always stay in charge always.
So I have another question for you guys. Like we have our own research groups, right?
Mhm.
How do you hold each other accountable in your own research groups?
By threatening them to exclude from the group. You know.
Ayo.
Oh.
Why would you threaten to exclude them? Like for example, if they
To keep order, right? You said in order for everyone to comply what is given to do, then you threaten them.
I mean by like accountability that they won't use AI, that they won't rely on AI too much, like that. Like they will actually do that research paper.
They will do actually the work, not AI. Hmm. By threatening them. Yeah, say that
That's
to
always
that.
the answer.
You should write it to yourself, or else the teacher will know that you use AI.
How about you guys?
Um, for us in our practical research, we hold each other accountable in research teams by making sure everyone actually contributes where they understand each parts of their work. So that's could possibly one thing or that we can learn from each other and also not over rely to AI. So not just relying to one person or AI.
So ever since from what we discussed earlier, we were able to see how much AI can actually lead to consequences if not used correctly and responsibly. How much it can affect us when we get to college and even worse when getting a job. But we've also discussed some prevention strategies, um, discussing about how we can use AI properly so that it won't replace us. So now we've really learned a lot that AI is not the problem, but rather the one that is using it. We must use AI responsibly.
Yeah, because if AI is abused, we don't just lose academic honesty, but we lose the habit of thinking deeply. But if we use AI properly, AI can actually enhance learning instead of just replacing it. Because at the end of the day, AI is not the problem. The problem is whether we still the ones who are thinking and doing it.
So to add up that AI can sound correct even if it's wrong. If we don't question it, we risk trusting error like look like facts.
Exactly. When AI stops being a tool and becomes a replacement for thinking, the real cost isn't just bad grades or weak outputs. It's the slow loss of confidence in our own ability to think, decide, and create. What looks like convenience today can quietly turn into dependence tomorrow until we can no longer tell where our effort ends and the machine's work begins. Uh, in the end, the danger of abusing AI isn't that it becomes too powerful, it's that we become less capable.
So that's why you must use AI responsibly, not abuse it.
So my final words for you are, is AI helping you learn or is it helping you hide? This is Powerhouse Podcast. Catch you on the flip side. Catch you on the flip side.